Port Royal welcomes cruise ship. Government considers performance-based pay for ministers, and Trans-Jamaica Highway initial public offer to come on stream by February. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Anthony Morgan.
On the advice of the Chief of Defence Staff and the Commissioner of Police, I have advised and petitioned His Excellency the Governor General to declare a state of public emergency in the Kingston Eastern Police Division.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness made that announcement on Sunday in a move to curtail rising violence in the area. The Kingston Eastern State of Public Emergency will be in place for 14 days. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says there are 32 criminal gangs in the police division, with 16 currently engaged in violent conflicts. He adds that there are 33 wanted persons and 34 violence producers in Kingston Eastern. Since the start of the year, the police division has recorded 11 murders, a sharp increase of the 3 committed in the same period last year. In 2019, Kingston Eastern saw a 16% increase in murders and a 49% hike in shootings, with 67% of shootings related to gang activity. On Saturday, the Prime Minister joined efforts to search for and destroy mosquito breeding sites on the island. The National Dengue Cleanup under the theme Mosquito Wanted Dead Not Alive was spearheaded by the Ministries of Health, Culture and Local Government. The Prime Minister was on hand for cleanup efforts in St. Andrews South, Northeast St. Andrew and Southeast Clarendon. While reiterating government's commitment to a healthy Jamaica, he urged citizens to not block or harm community health workers who are doing inspections.
We must enforce the laws very strongly on this matter, because it is not in the public's interest for someone in their private yard to be breeding mosquitoes. And when you come to talk to them, they tell you can't come in my yard and you can't tell me what to do about this. That can't work. Approximately
$2.6 billion has been spent on vector control efforts, including the acquisition of new vehicles, fogging and hiring vector control workers. An additional $189 million has been set aside for members of parliament to deal with mosquito breeding sites. Prime Minister Holness also revealed that members of parliament would each receive an additional $500,000 to target bulky waste removal. Another $50 million will go to councillors in the municipal corporations to assist with ridding the country of mosquito-borne illnesses.
And it doesn't stop when this exercise stops. Every one of you has a duty and responsibility to ensure that your little area and your community is clean and free of anything that could aid in the breeding of mosquitoes that carry the dengue virus.
Secretary Pompeo, I thank you for being with us today. I certainly value our fruitful and productive dialogue and look forward to the continued robust partnership between Jamaica and the United States.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness during a press conference Wednesday following bilateral talks with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Mr. Holness and Mr. Pompeo pledged continued partnership in the areas of security, energy, trade, investments, the environment, and greater economic and social development. Mr. Pompeo's 2-day visit formed part of efforts to build stronger ties with Jamaica and the Caribbean region. And following Wednesday morning's press conference, Mr. Holness met with Haiti's Minister of Foreign Affairs. The two pledged to strengthen bilateral and regional cooperation. Earlier in the week, the Prime Minister announced plans to continue the state's heavy investment in infrastructure. At Tuesday's launch of the 4th Annual Caribbean Infrastructure Forum, Mr. Holness said government would be focusing on the Greater Infrastructure Development Project, GIDP. It's a successor program to 2 Chinese-funded projects which developed roads, buildings, bridges, and other infrastructure across the island. According to the Prime Minister, the programs allowed the country to increase its growth prospects while lowering its debt-to-GDP ratio.
We're going to be doing even more connectivity in terms of our roads. We're going to be building bypasses, extending our highways, widening other roads. So effectively what will happen is that you will have ease of travel in Jamaica.
Mr. Holness also revealed plans to invest in technology-driven infrastructure development in Port Royal and the reintroduction of a lengthman program. At Port Royal, Mr. Holness says a seawall will be built, foundations will be raised, and houses in at-risk areas will be removed. Participants in the Lengthman program will be given a smart device to record information on roads across the island.
That will give us a pool of data from which we can do our data mining and analytics to help us to drive our budget, to direct which roads really need to be repaired, which drains and gullies really need attention. And that is a smarter way of addressing the resilience of your built and natural environment.
Tuesday night, the Prime Minister was at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel for the 15th Jamaica Stock Exchange Regional Conference on Investments and the Capital Markets. He used the opportunity to announce that the initial public offer for Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited could start next month. NCB Capital Markets Limited is the leader organizer for the undertaking, which was first revealed last October. The sale of government's shares in the company, which operates the east-to-west segment of Highway 2000, is part of efforts to fully utilize the state's assets. The day before, Mr. Holness was at Port Royal to welcome the community's first cruise ship, the Marella Discovery II. When the ship docked around 8 o'clock Monday morning, the Prime Minister greeted the 2,000 passengers and crew. On Thursday, the Prime Minister chaired the annual General Staff meeting of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Mr. Holness said the state was looking to introduce performance-based pay for ministers as part of efforts to transform the public sector. He said it would be similar to the one implemented in December 2019 for permanent secretaries.
We recognize that we have to have a mass implementation of performance-based systems in order to get the public sector to move much more quickly in achieving the objectives of policy.
Prime Minister Holness says the performance-based pay system will be introduced gradually to allow for public sector buy-in. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. Be sure to join us again next time for more news stories coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.